Hi guys and welcome to the event recap for Robot Conflict at Motorama for Brutally Honest and Blueberry. For changes, for Brutally Honest, the only change is we put in a smaller receiver to save space in the robot, and that was basically it. We started some reassembling. Meanwhile, Blueberry is completely unchanged from last competition, besides being rebuilt since it got destroyed. Brutally Honest is up first against the Fighting Amphibian, which is an egg beater spinner, so I decided to run my wedge because I thought my folks would get caught by their weapon. So my goal was to try to avoid their egg beater and try to get around to their wheels and maybe break one. You'll see what happens about now.
Are you ready?
So I'll have to play this to your rec again. I don't know
Press the
why,
button, yeah.
but it's
Red Square, Fighting Amphibian. Are you ready?
because we noticed that once we
Judges,
switch it, never
2
hit our
minutes.
6K again.
2,
Never looking pretty good. Found a bad spot. Yeah. Oh, problem solved.
Rocker Sketch killed one of my drive sides.
Oh!
Really big weapon blow that I definitely lost. I am now inverted, but quickly self-win. Very tiny hit. At this point, the drive issues start to get worse, as I am also launched, as I even go out of frame in this hit. I self-right. Oh, never mind. Now I self-right. I then get a pretty nice hit.
1 minute remaining.
Took a small hit to the back, and around this point it looked like my weapon went down. In actuality, it didn't. It just was inconsistent.
Weapon down? Oh no, okay.
Here you can see I got a small hit and my weapon is back up. Unfortunately, I found my drive was down, so I tapped out. Obviously, I lost that fight, and the reason I said annoyingly was because turns out my drive wasn't down. Although, to be honest, tapping out might have been the better choice anyways, since I was still gonna lose that fight. So damage, obviously a drive side went down, but I also took a good hit to the back that kind of bent the chassis. So for repairs, obviously my dad had to resolder a new motor, and that was it. Anyways, Blueberry is up next against Spambot 2.0, which is a Viper kit with a vertical spinner. My dad's strategy is basically just flip them a bunch, I guess. Blueberry with drive issues off the gate. Also, the noise in the background is construction, I think. Nice flip from Blueberry. A complete misfit, as Spambot gets a good hit, and another one. A cool lift, I guess. A full lift. Spambot got a pretty good hit on Blueberry. As Blueberry now gets a nice lift. Blueberry gets another really good lift. Throw in spam bottle. Yet another flip from Blueberry. Spambot flips Blueberry over, but he's self-right as Blueberry gets a flip. Or more accurately, a lift. Okay, that's a flip. Spambot's weapon had apparently went down, but he managed to get a pin. Although Blueberry does push Spambot back. As they get one final flip and the fight goes to the judges. Blueberry won that fight on the judge's decision and ended completely undamaged. Okay, well, basically undamaged. So my dad had to just swap out the battery. So its next fight is against Turbo Smasher, a large vertical spinner. So my dad's strategy was to try to keep them off balance. Immediate series of hits and another. Blueberry gets absolutely launched. Turbo Smasher gets a good few hits and some more good hits. Throwing Blueberry around and another great. Turbo Smasher once again tosses Blueberry over as a self-right, misses a flip, and actually gets in lifts. But then Turbo Smasher gets a huge hit which ejects the battery. Obviously, Blueberry lost that fight very badly. For damage, you can see the bottom panel got very much destroyed with a huge gash going through it at 2 angles. As for the top, you can see the gap in the top panel where the battery got ejected from. And also you can see the electronics hanging out the bottom. One of his wheels got destroyed. So that was a very lengthy rebuild for my dad, for Blueberry, because he had basically had to do a full rebuild. Brutally Honest is up next against Legion, a pretty big vertical spinner, but they don't run ground game, so I decided to go for forks to try to get them off balance and hit the bottom panel. Also, yes, I know this picture. From last event, I kind of forgot to take a picture of this configuration, this event.
Red square, ready.
Blue square, brutally honest, are you ready?
Blue square, 3, 2,
2
1.
minutes on the clock.
I get underneath for a second.
Okay.
Before getting a tiny hit, I think. Here I got a really good hit as you can see pieces fly off of the bottom panel of Legion. Here I grind away at the back a little. Before getting another good hit, but Legion self-rights. I continue to grind away at the bottom before getting thrown over and when my fork's bent up. I take another hit to that one fork that is already bent up, but self-fight pretty quick.
1 minute remaining.
I take a pretty good hit there, but respawn with a bit of a push. Okay, a very good push. Took a small hit, and now you can kind of see that my fork has been broken on one side. I struggle to self-right as Legion starts to have issues with using their drive and weapon at the same time. Finally
There you
back
go.
on my wheels with a little bit of help. I get a pretty nice push as the fight goes to judges. Brutally honest, won that judge's decision, but obviously was not unscathed. As when my forks got destroyed and my top panel came up over one of my screws, so just fixed that and was good to go. Meanwhile, as it turns out, I nearly ripped out Legion's receiver and might have also grazed their battery a bit, so that fight could have ended much more entertaining, I guess. Alternatively more destructive, but to me, those are kind of the same thing. Blueberry is up next since Motorama, which is a wedge robot. Now, Blueberry had to use its postponement for this fight, and even then, my dad was screwing on the top panel when it's up. Also, the lifter was not set up properly. And by that, I mean the screws weren't tightened, so my dad's strategy is to try to get some flips, I guess.
2, 1.
The drive issues are worse, so Blueberry out the gate. Although they still do manage a flip. Okay, so Blueberry can still get underneath. Okay, sometimes. Blueberry gets pinned, but escapes, kind of. Occasionally they can get a Blueberry. The drive issues for Blueberry are seemingly getting worse. As they miss a flip.
1 minute remaining.
But then get a successful couple of flips. Blueberry is pinned. And pinned again. And pinned again. And slammed into the wall. Blueberry missed that flip. And Blueberry is pinned. Blueberry gets pinned once again as it goes to the judges. Blueberry very clearly lost that judge's decision and was eliminated from the tournament. Luckily, undamaged from that fight. Brutally Honest is up next against Xenon, which is another 8-beater. Now, talking to the team before their fight, apparently their frame was bent, and if their weapon went down, they would tap out. So my goal is to try to break their weapon. Running the wedge for the same reason I ran it against fighting amphibian.
Red square, ready.
Blue square, Xenon, are you ready?
Blue square, ready.
All right, 2 minutes on the clock.
3, 2, 1.
I lose the first couple of hits, and I was just spinning around kind of struggling to do self-right. Eventually, however, I do, and go weapon to weapon and do hits. I get a really nice hit before this happened. As the robots go weapon to weapon and get stuck together.
Holy! Oh my god!
Are the robots stuck together? Alright, what's the fight?
Dude, it's stuck in between the two teeth on the fingertip.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever seen that happen.
You're
The robots are finally separated as the fight resumes. I get a good couple of hits and try to take advantage of the fact that Xenon is upside down.
Yeah. This next minute will be the next minute will be pivotal regardless.
Here I want a nice hit,
Well, those chunks were there to begin with.
and another one throwing Xenon into the air.
30 seconds.
I flip Xenon over with that hit before tossing him back over and getting a huge hit. That hit seemingly killed Xenon's weapon, which led to them tapping out.
And we have a tap out.
So, for damage, brutally honest, the only damage I took was, well, my top panel screw came loose a bit, which is kind of hard to see because I took the top panel off in this photo. Also, my weapon mount had a chunk of material taken off, which also can't really see. Now, as to what happened when the two robots got stuck together, it was a 1 in a million shot where my weapon got caught in between the two screws that Xenon was using as weapon teeth on the egg beater, and that took a very long time to separate. Also, you can kind of see that the egg beater is kind of starting to crack, although very slightly. Anyways, brutally honest, his next fight is up against Arbogast, which is a push bot, so completely swapped the cutter configuration. Now, unfortunately, while we were rebuilding, we accidentally cut a power wire, so I had to postpone this fight. But anyways, my strategy is the standard for the control bots. Try to get underneath them and just grind away at them.
Red square, ready.
Blue square, brutally honest. Are you ready?
White square, ready.
Alright, 2 minutes on the clock.
3, 2, 1.
The two robots do a little dance. Arbogast gets a pin, but I managed to get away. Arbogast gets underneath and slams me into the wall. We two robots immediately sentient, and I actually managed to swarm Arbogast back before getting into myself. I then get a really good drive, which unfortunately you're not able to see. Before Arbogast ramps up my wedge and I get a good couple of hits. I managed to almost get a pin. And get another hit. And another. And another.
keep it up.
We go head to head, and I even kind of start to push Arbogast back.
The robot's stuck.
This has happened earlier in this fight, but now it's completely clear that Arbogast has lost each other's drive. They try to attack for working lead. The two robots do a little dance as I get a small hit. I throw Arbogast over as they get kind of close to do anything. I get another. Got another good hit.
Pin him at the end.
I attempt to go for one last push as the fight goes he touched me. Brutally honest, actually won that judge's decision, so I was basically undamaged from that fight. So just putting a new battery, that was it. In fact, I didn't even have to swap out configurations, since my next opponent would be Moray, which was supposed to be a vertical spinner, but the spinner broke, so last minute they made it into a grabber. So I was gonna basically try to get underneath them, and I don't know, maybe break the grabber. Also, apparently Arbogast, what happened was one of the drive motors burnt out. The driver said he thinks it was when he was pinning me it happened.
Square ready.
Blue square, Moray, are you ready?
Blue square ready.
All right, 2 minutes on the clock.
3, 2, 1.
Mori gets stuck in the floor, but I am unable to capitalize as they get pinned. I think I ripped something off in that exchange. I got pinned again.
Can you
Also, me
disengage?
ripping a random
Okay.
piece
Fire
off,
back
I
up.
think was
Get to
the
the sides.
only thing I actually did besides get pinned. Oh, I'm pinned again. I got pinned again. Yeah, it's gonna be one of those fights. I get pinned as more I aggressively tapped at my top panel, which is actually kind of helpful because that top panel is coming loose. I get pinned.
One minute remaining.
I get pinned. And I get pinned again. Look, it's another pin. Look, a pin. Moray performs a move in which it inhibits the mobility of brutally honest by
Try to get
getting
the
caught in between itself and the arena wall. AKA, I got pinned. One of Moray's 5 sides apparently went down. Obviously, Moray won that fight on the judge's decision, as Brutally Honest got eliminated from the tournament after going 3-2, which is tied for my best performance at a competition. Anyways, as for changes for next event, Brutally Honest is probably gonna basically stay the same design. Actually, no, we're gonna add some hooks to the front fork, kind of like fish hooks to kind of get the other robot stuck so I can get better hits. As for Blueberry, this might have been Lifter Blueberry's last competition, as my dad is planning on adding a vertical spinner for next event. Also kind of talked about some different front options. He's planning to switch back to brushed motors since the brushlesses are really annoying to deal with according to him. Also briefly mentioned wheel guards, so that might be a possibility. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Credit to my dad for filming Brutally Honest's fight. Credit to Motorama for hosting this event. Next competition will be at Weiner in like 4 weeks. So, that's it for this episode. See you next time. Goodbye.